From our studios at the corner of 8th and Walton in Bentonville, Arkansas, welcome to Saturday Morning Meeting, where we cover Walmart, Sam's Club, and the consumer product companies that are represented on the racks and shelves throughout the country and around the world. I'm Derek Ridenauer, and our focus is on the insights, trends, and best practices to help you as a supplier grow your business with the world's largest retailer. Thank you for joining us, and coming up today, we will talk with Vice President of Diamond Foods, Drew Collom, about supplier teams past and present. And we will discuss this week's headlines with Matt Fifer from Store of the Community and Andy Wiseman of Redwood Venture Toys. But first, the headlines. Walmart reports that Cyber Monday 2013 was Walmart.com's best sales day yet. In fact, during the 5-day Black Friday weekend, Walmart.com received over 1 billion page views. Top sellers include the Apple iPad, an LG LED television, and the Mega Block's first Build and Learn table. Walmart.com continued to offer special holiday pricing through Friday, December the 6th. While Cyber Monday proved a success for Walmart, the retailer still has a long way to go before it can hope to become the king of online sales. A recent article on sfgate.com noted that incoming CEO Doug McMillon will need to be aggressive in pursuing online opportunities that also fit into the Walmart brand. Bloomberg reports that inconsistent job growth and uncertain incomes led to consumer spending drop this past Black Friday. Bloomberg also reports that consumer confidence hit a 7-month low in November, also contributing to slower sales. These lower than expected numbers will likely lead to what a Bloomberg industry analyst calls panic sales by retailers hoping to make up for the lackluster weekend. Black Friday wasn't the only retail news items this past weekend. On a 60-minute segment, Amazon's Jeff Bezos unveiled a plan for a 30-minute delivery service via drones. While implementation of the plan is still a long ways off, the service would offer shoppers almost immediate delivery of products ordered online, while Businessweek reports that analysts are suspicious, noting that federal regulations, weight restrictions, and the risk of theft make drone delivery impractical. The report captured the public's imagination, spawning numerous stories and social media memes. The Boston Globe reports that Walmart has settled a lawsuit stemming from the 2008 death of a construction worker at a Walmart site. The worker, Romulo de Oliveira Santos, was electrocuted his first night working for a Walmart subcontractor. Santos' family sued Walmart as well as the subcontractors in charge of the construction project, arguing that the working conditions were substandard. The details of the settlement have not been revealed to the public. And finally, TechCrunch reports that Walmart's Thanksgiving top sellers were tablets and towels. The retailer sold 1.4 million tablets to Thanksgiving Day shoppers this year, many of them iPad minis, and some shoppers reported in-store tussles over these items via their social media accounts. Still, the number of tablets sold was dwarfed by the number of towels sold to eager shoppers. Walmart sold 2.8 million towels to its customers over the holiday, with a 29-cent washcloth proving to be the retailer's #1 bestseller. Check out Walmart News and Supplier News as is reported on WalmartNewsNow.com. Joined now by our panel to discuss the headlines. We have Andy Wiseman, CEO of Redwood Ventures, and Matt Fifer, CEO of Store of the Community. Thanks, guys. Andy, I want to start with you. Toys near and dear to your heart. Obviously, Black Friday last week got through that. Numbers coming out now really weren't as strong as I think what most retailers had hoped for. And a couple factors into that. One of those, I think, could be the economy, and people are still uncertain. But what are some things that you kind of saw from last weekend, the entire Black Friday weekend?
Well, I think there was confusion among consumers. From what I was looking at, it was a confusing story all across the retail landscape, because if I were to go shopping on Thursday, would I be getting a better deal than I would on Friday? And is the deal at Target on Thursday better than the deal at Walmart on Friday, and so on? And so I think there was a diluting kind of effect that this Thursday issue had, the confusion among consumers. But I think that confusion perhaps bore itself out in the fact that it looks like shoppers waited until Monday, at least a large percentage, with a decline of about $3 billion in overall Black Friday sales over that 4-day period, but an increase of $3 billion in sales on Monday, on Cyber Monday.
Kind of sit at home and waited.
Yeah, I think so.
Your background is marketing. What could they have done differently to kind of boost those sales, or is moving Black Friday into Thursday going to prove to be beneficial going forward?
I think retailers like Walmart can continue to try to outguess the consumer, but at the end of the day, it's about, what does the consumer want? My family is among millions, and decided to sit the event out and just wait and see what happened online. So again, I think retailers can continue to maybe try to push the event earlier and obviously try to have the hottest items and the hottest prices. But at the end of the day, it's what the consumer is going to be motivated to do. And I didn't want to be shoulder to shoulder with hundreds, if not thousands, of strangers in the local store. I wanted to sit at home with the coffee cup in hand and fire in the fireplace and shop at my own pace.
I think, yeah. Well, I have one more point to add, if I can, about video games. Were you playing video games when you were sitting at home? No, the consoles, the PS4, and that just was released just before Black Friday, really, and then the Xbox One. These are huge family purchases. The reports are that a million a piece of those were sold. One is $500, one is $400. So there's $1 billion in retail sales that could have come out of, at least part of what could have happened on Black Friday.
The other thing I think that we've kind of learned from this Black Friday and all the reports that we're seeing, shoppers were very focused and mission driven. They put it on their list. I'm going to be at Best Buy at 6 o'clock on Thursday night because they've got the TV that I want. And if they don't, then my second plan is go to Target, third plan is going to be go to Walmart.
Yeah.
Do you think we're going to continue to see shoppers who are very mission focused and aren't going to spend time? I mean, Walmart had a great plan this year with putting the armbands, handing those out in hopes that consumers would shop around the store.
Yeah.
I don't think they saw that, and I haven't seen the numbers from Walmart, but the indications from all reports we're seeing that may not have worked the way they wanted it to. I think it helped crowd control, but I don't think it helped. So if you're looking back now and you're doing a correction of errors for next year, Andy, we'll go to you. If you're Walmart or you're Target or Best Buy, what do?
I want to find a way to bundle. So I want to take that average ring and increase the size of it. Because if somebody's on a mission, I need them to pick up this and that and this and that they didn't plan to pick up. That's a very difficult, you can put out all the merchandise that you want at great low prices and try to pick up that impulse purchase. But with a nervous set of consumers here in the U.S., the impulse buys appeared not to happen to the level they needed to this year. That's going to be an ongoing challenge.
Do you think those impulse buys happen in the next 2 weeks as we get closer to Christmas?
It's hard to say.
I think Andy's exactly right. I mean, I think the event itself has always been a very destination driven event, right? I mean, even to the extent that families would station different members throughout the store to pick up the specific item that they're there for so they can hit the register and get the heck out. So you look at the participation in the event, there are actually more consumers that shopped the Black Friday event this year over last year, but they spent less, like 4% less. And so to Andy's point, it's about how do you figure out how to get more items in the basket. And I think that's something that retailers are trying to figure out how to do year round, not just during this event. That's the real key, is how do you capitalize on that traffic.
Okay, we're going to go to Cyber Monday now. But Amazon clearly owned Cyber Monday. Walmart came in number 3 behind eBay on Cyber Monday. And Amazon, big news this week, they announced that they're going to be doing drones, hopefully in the future for them. Doug McMillan coming in, we've talked about some of the challenges he faces. One of the biggest is going to be the e-commerce. And how does he go after Amazon with Walmart.com? Because they're continuing to run away with it. Amazon's continuing to run away with that. So Matt, what do you tell Doug?
Well, I'll take maybe a somewhat controversial position on this. You look at some of the things that Walmart has tried to do throughout the years that have been kind of outside their core competency. You think about, when iTunes had the 99-cent music, so Walmart decided 88 cents. And when Netflix came out with DVD delivery, Walmart tried to get into that business. And the challenge is Walmart just doesn't have any credibility in that space. And so Amazon's got all the early adopters. And so when you think about Amazon Fresh, which rolled out to another market a couple of months ago, and same day delivery of groceries, of course Amazon's going to win early because they've already got that credibility for being on the front, on the leading edge.
And to their credit, I think that Amazon has certainly gone after the audience or the consumer that Walmart hasn't, which is those young, the early adopters you put it, but the millennials, the ones who are very tech savvy, and they're doing it in major markets.
Yeah, exactly.
This is what the drone story is all about from my perspective too. It's about the Amazon
Remember, we're
brand.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah.
That's right. They're trying to be cool, and it is cool. I mean, who didn't read that article or look at the CBS 60 Minutes piece and smile? What a great idea, I want pizza at my door next with a drone.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
Sure it's coming.
Faster, hotter.
But again, I think Walmart's challenge is not necessarily assortment and experience, though I think that those are important factors. I think it's credibility. I think it's these young people have seen Walmart get in and out of these businesses that were very very fashionable, very sexy, and followed Amazon, followed Apple and others in, and jumped out when it didn't work.
You're the first or second in, or you don't even play.
Right.
Okay. And then on a lighter side, we got about a minute left here, 45 seconds left. You had a very interesting article that you shared.
Yeah. Yeah. So the
Tongue
article.
in cheek, obviously.
Yeah. No, of course. So I saw an article, and they'll put it up on the screen that Walmart was installing rooftop anti-drone missile systems to knock Amazon's delivery systems out of the air. So
they're staffing those with guys from the TLA.
Right. So I'm sure there's a computer-based learning module being developed at the home office right now.
So one of the first changes Doug's going to bring in.
I'm sure.
All right, guys, thank you very much.
You.
When we come back with Saturday Morning Meeting, we will sit down with Drew Collom. He is the Vice President of Diamond Foods. We're going to talk about supplier teams, where they started and where they are now when Saturday Morning Meeting continues.
Today's show has been sponsored in part by 8th & Walton, the premier destination for Walmart supplier education. Since 2006, 8th & Walton's By Suppliers for Suppliers approach to education and services has helped thousands of supplier teams grow their business with Walmart. Visit 8thandwalton.com to learn more.
Cameron Smith & Associates is Supplier's first choice in recruiting the competitive Walmart supplier job market. We connect qualified candidates to CPG jobs in Northwest Arkansas and across the country. CSA also sources sales and marketing professionals for companies providing advertising, marketing, merchandising, and data management services to suppliers. Contact us today at csarecruiters.com.
Welcome back to Saturday Morning Meeting, joined now by Drew Collom, the Vice President of Diamond Foods. Drew, thanks for coming in. Now, you've been a supplier for quite a while, and many, many years here in Northwest Arkansas. I want to talk to you about how those supplier teams have changed from where we were in the early 90s to all the way to what we're seeing today, because there's been quite a bit of transition and change in terms of how those teams look, how large those teams have gotten, and so let's start. Where were things back in the early 90s whenever suppliers really kind of began moving in to help support Walmart?
Oh gosh, your account manager was here, and that was about it, and everything else was back at corporate. You know, your customer service people, logistics people, your brand people, they were all back at corporate. So you just had a small, group here, maybe one or two people. And so, in 2000, I mean, it really started to change in the late 90s and then 2000. And what I did was I went back and I took a look at, there was a study that P&G helped lead in 2004 with about 14 different companies, and over at Newell Rubbermaid we were a part of that. And what we did was we listed all of the job functions that were here within town and listed all the different people that fall within those job descriptions, because it was a help to go back to corporate and say, okay, this is how this whole area is changing. And
so you need more than just an account manager.
You needed more than an account manager, but you also needed to make sure that you were telling corporate, what the pay levels were going to be needed in order to support, the Walmart business down here. So I looked at it, and so I'll read off just a couple. So you had obviously your account executives, you had your category managers, you had your team leaders, you had a retail analyst, you had a marketing support specialist, you had a database IT person here, and customer service, and you might have had an admin depending on the size of the company. But today, if you look at that today, so you have all those now, plus you've got an international team, because today most of the groups here are calling on international or coordinating their international business out of Bentonville. So you've got a team now working on international, which is terrific.
And then Sam's Club as well?
And Sam's absolutely, yes. Sam's and Walmart lumped together.
So you almost have three different companies here that one company could call on.
Yeah, back in the 90s, you had a Walmart team, and the same person was calling on Sam's. Today, a lot of it, you've got a separate Sam's team, and you have a separate, Walmart team.
Right.
Now, you've got some of the companies today, because of the growth of neighborhood markets, with 500 stores going to be opened in the next 18 months, or I should say in total, 500 stores. there's a lot of emphasis on that. So there are teams today that have a special neighborhood market team to make sure those they're doing all they can at the small formats. But you've got, so I mentioned international, you got shopper marketing and consumer insights that didn't exist back then, so you've got that. You've got a lot of the companies today running their Southeast business out of this market. You have them also calling on other retailers, not just Walmart and Sam's Club today.
Well, it's easy to travel from here to HEB, for example, or down to Florida for Publix, depending again where the headquarters is.
Absolutely, and then plus you've got, there is a lot of talent in the area, to draw from. So, it's a great place for those companies to have other people calling on outside of Walmart, calling on those other regional customers. The other thing you've got is e-commerce and .com out of here. So not only just Walmart.com, but they might be taking care of all their other e-commerce business as well. So you've got a special group for that. Obviously, you've got category management. And if you think about the way it was back in the 90s and early 2000, if you were the category manager and I was a salesperson, our offices could have been right next to one another.
Yeah.
Today, that is totally separate. Usually it's a separate door to get in for the category manager versus the sales manager.
Part of those.
Absolutely. So that's a big change that's taken place. And the other thing you've got today is finance. You take a company that's doing a couple $100 million here with Walmart or $1 billion, they've got their finance person here helping on forecasting, helping on your P&Ls, helping sure that you're right, financially, and they're.
Well, it's also
right
nice
here.
to have somebody here in AR or AP, accounts receivable, accounts payable, that if there's a problem, they can go to shared services right here in town and talk to somebody face to face.
Yeah, the larger companies do have a personnel department here, a manager for HR here, because some of the teams, today are 50 plus, and as large as 200.
Have you been surprised to see all the added people that have kind of come in to help support that? I mean, you've been here for a number of years with Mill Rubbermaid and now with Diamond.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I think that probably we didn't ramp up fast enough. I think it was needed before, and it was just made it more difficult for us. I think it's a lot better to have everyone here. I think they understand it a lot better. I remember years ago, Donnie Harris mentioning to us that.
And Don was the chief merchandising officer for a while.
Operations, yes, and his father was one of the original buyers here, but with a tremendous history here. But he was always making sure that the message was translated properly back to corporate. So it's one thing for a buyer to give the message to the salesperson, but then you want it translated back properly. And I think by having more of those people from corporate here, they're able to do that better.
Today's show has been sponsored in part by 8th & Walton, the premier destination for Walmart supplier education. 8th & Walton offers a variety of services including new supplier onboarding, scorecard optimization, and analysis and reporting. Visit 8thandwalton.com/services to learn more.
GigWalk is an on-demand mobile workforce that can collect data and do work at retail. Businesses use GigWalk for retail audits, merchandising, and much more. With 350,000 smartphone-enabled workers available on demand, you get unprecedented speed and coverage across the U.S., Canada, and the UK. And all work is reviewed for quality and accuracy. Visit gigwalk.com to learn more.
Well, one thing that I know in my own experience in working for Walmart and now as a supplier, that Doug Dane had said is oftentimes Walmart was kind of a side business, and that many companies didn't have anyone that understood retail link. That's obviously all changed, because I don't think you could get a job with a supplier here if you don't have some basics of retail link.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's been interesting to watch that change. As all this has changed over the last 15 to 20 years, what do you think's next for those supplier teams that are here? In 10 years, what do you think they will have added that they may not have today?
I think the teams will be larger today. I think we'll have to be. If you just take a look at the growth and where they are, I think we'll be much larger, in the future than we are today here. I think there'll be more and more resources dedicated down here. I think you might have more and more companies, calling on other retailers out of this market as well, potentially. Again, because I just think it's, we've just got that talent base here.
Right.
But I just think the teams are going to be much larger. So it's such a tough one to call, Derek, but I just think they'll be much larger than what they are today.
So if you're starting a new supplier team, what are some key positions you would look for?
Retail link analyst, certainly number one. It depends on your size.
Right.
It depends what you need. There's a lot of companies that are just maybe have just a few SKUs and are just getting started, and they can't afford maybe to put someone on full time. There's a lot of excellent people out here that are doing some part-time work for a lot of different suppliers that have a lot of experience with Walmart that can do a great job for you. So that didn't exist years
Right.
ago, and that exists today. And so you have that readily available, but I think that would be the number one piece. You need to understand where your business is, and you need that experience. So that would be the first thing that you would need here. And I know a lot of people want to hire a category manager right off the bat, but if you're not category, you don't need a
almost don't need
category
that-
manager.
that
But
job.
a lot of people want to do that, but it's like, no, I don't think you really need that. You're okay just going with that retail link support. I think the other thing you would need is logistics. I mean, someone that's helping you with supply chain, that's ensuring that they're working with the company back regarding forecasts and making sure that you're right in CPFR, that your forecasts are right within the Walmart system, and that your settings are properly, are set proper during the high seasonality of
Right.
a particular product. But I would have that as well.
And I think that's an interesting point, because I just met with the buyer this last week, and one of the things that she had said is like pallet displays and half pallet displays. There are whole packaging specs and expectations as to how those should be. Wooden pallets, Walmart's never wanted those because they scratch the floor, which cause damage to the buildings, increase labor. So it's interesting to hear them talk about that too, that there are specs there, and if you're not here calling on Walmart and interacting with them on a regular basis, you probably aren't going to catch that. Certainly somebody back at corporate isn't going to catch that, why can't I use a pallet like I do for everybody else?
Yeah, and the other thing is, if you think about years ago, I think there was one marketing company in town, really what we had, Andy's group.
Right.
And
The
so,
Harvest Group.
yeah, and so now what you have is you've got multiple marketing companies in town that are working with Walmart every day on, what's the right pallet configuration, what the corrugate, et cetera. So you've got a lot of different resources to pull from, and to help you with those kind of things.
Well, Drew, thank you very much. We're out of time for today.
Sure.
I appreciate you coming in.
At Crystal Bridges Museum of American Art, we can help your business meetings get out of the box. Way out of the box. With refreshing views of the museum's 120-acre grounds, breathtaking architecture, spacious meeting and presentation venues, and top-notch catering from 11, our award-winning restaurant, not to mention more than 400 works of art by American masters. Your meeting at Crystal Bridges will be anything but in the box. Call us today and let our team of professional event planners arrange your next meeting at Crystal Bridges Museum of American Art.
Today's show has been sponsored in part by 8th & Walton, the premier destination for Walmart supplier education. 8th & Walton offers a variety of services including new supplier onboarding, scorecard optimization, and analysis and reporting. Visit 8thandwalton.com/services to learn more.
I want to thank Drew and our panel for joining us, but most importantly, thank you for joining us. If you have questions or comments, we would love to hear from you. Our email address is saturday@8thandwalton.com. And be sure to join us next week. Our featured guest will be Teresa Warren of 8th & Walton, who will discuss what suppliers should know when creating a joint business plan with Walmart. It's all coming up next week on Saturday Morning Meeting.